Hello and welcome to the VIP show. My name's James Taylor, keynote speaker on creativity, innovation, and artificial intelligence.
And I'm Alison Burns, the ethical futurist, exploring everything ethical in the future.
So there you go. And with this show, every week we get together and we're just going to share, it's called the VIP show, and the I in the VIP stands for interesting. So each week we're going to share an interesting business or company, an interesting person, and an interesting thing, just to kind of brighten up your week. So first of all, how's your week been? How's it been going?
I was just about to ask you the same question. My week has been okay. Yeah, nurturing my brain cells.
Good.
Learning some things. Playing piano, which was nice. Yeah.
I felt this morning, at one point this morning, I said, oh, do you know what I could really do with today is go into a nice spa.
Well, let's do that.
Nice warm, go to a nice spa, get a Turkish sauna or something like that.
Where?
And I suddenly realized we're in the middle of a global pandemic and that's not going to happen for a while.
That'll be the bathroom there.
Yeah. So regardless of where you're joining us from, welcome. Please leave your comments in below. Let us know as we're going kind of through this, what your own experiences are with some of these things. So let's go to our very first, this is our very interesting company or business of the week. Yeah. And when we say interesting, we don't always mean interesting in a positive or a good way. It can also be interesting in something that we find or else find very ethically challenging. So as a little kind of segue into this, let me show you this. This is, I just saw this week. This is, wrong one. This is a company that here we go. Indonesia is vaccinating its influencers first. So they're rolling out the vaccine in different countries, and whereas most countries are going from their more at-risk population first, and elderly, those at risk, existing health conditions, and then going down from there, Indonesia has chosen a slightly different tack. So they're actually going the opposite way. They're vaccinating their younger people first, and then kind of going up, and they're actually bringing in kind of influencers because they want more of the young people to be vaccinating. So there's obviously an ethical thing about that, but the bigger thing that I'm seeing, and I think this is going to be a real trend. It's a very interesting trend, good or bad. We'll maybe have a chat about, and it's this. This is how the super rich are beating you to the vaccine. This is a company. There's a number of companies now. This is Knightsbridge. Knightsbridge Circle. This is like a concierge or private member service.
It's like a personal manager.
Yeah, and so like in this case, £25,000 a year, about $30,000. You pay them and you get like a personal manager. So if suddenly you want a bottle of Glenmorangie whiskey and you're in
the middle of the night,
yeah, they'll bring it to you. But one of the things that the services they're providing to these very wealthy people is a vaccination service. So they will fly you and your family on a private jet. They'll pick you up, they'll put you in a private jet, they'll fly you to a country. There's a number of different countries that are doing this. And you will be vaccinated at a private clinic. You will get the COVID-19 vaccine. You don't necessarily say which of the vaccines, obviously there's different types. And then you'll stay in this wonderful villa, I'm told. The article shows this is actually an article from Vice magazine. It's also been featured in the Daily Telegraph in the UK as well. And then after about 28 days, then you get the second vaccine, and then they pick you up and then you fly you home, and you get wine dined and everything while you're there, I guess. But I thought the thing I want to talk to you about, being the ethical futurist, is one of the things that they said was, I have to, this is I think their CEO, Mr. McNeil, he said, I have to weigh up the unbalance between making lots of money and being able to sleep at night. I'm not going to give the vaccine a 35-year-old who wants to go to the gym. So, thoughts?
Well, you think about it this way, you actually, in terms of saving, how many lives can you save by vaccinating the frontline health workers and carers, first of all, and also protecting the most vulnerable in the community, in the global communities. Plus, if you take, just because you've got money, also this is to do with connections, because a lot of these people who are wealthy, they're also well connected. So, this can all be done under the radar. No one really knows about it. So you can, it's your kind of dirty little secret. But how many people does that deprive of who really need it, who really are vulnerable? You know, so that I'm not comfortable with it at all. Actually,
but I thought what I thought was interesting. I mean, it's kind of an interesting topic about vaccine tourism, which I think you're going to see.
Yeah.
I think the countries that start to do it first are countries which are known for medical tourism anyway. But the founder of this company, Next Bridge Circle, he was making an ethical distinction. He said, it's fine if people want to jump the queue and pay lots of money. He doesn't have an ethical problem with that. What he has an ethical problem is the age group of those people. So he'd be fine about taking money from a 65-year-old billionaire, but he wouldn't take money from a 35-year-old
who is still jumping the queue, or possibly
they're all jumping the queue.
Exactly.
Especially in a country like no country has 100%.
Because why would you do that? Why would you go and pay for a vaccine and be a vaccine tourist if you can actually legitimately and properly in the queue take your turn in your own home country? So it's jumping the queue. I mean, you want to get a vaccine, you want to get vaccinated, but you also want people to be protected within your community and the wider community. It's not really, doesn't sit comfortably with me at all. And
so if you're watching this just now, what on the comment section, what are your take? Just leave in the comments just below here. What do you think? Would you, if this was offered to you, would you take this? If you the service, maybe you can't do a service and you're thinking about it just now, you're investigating this as an option for you and your family. Is this something that you would do? And if not, why? What is it that's maybe kind of holding you back from doing this? I think this is interesting. I saw someone tweeting today. Someone is quite a well-known influencer who had just had the vaccine, and I did have to ask a question. Well, how did they manage to get this vaccine? Because they're younger than me, and you start to ask questions when some people were getting the vaccine or not.
What was that you were talking about earlier? Influencers in Indonesia being given the vaccine first, and that's to promote younger people, to encourage younger people to actually take the vaccine. But what's been done to encourage the older people who are maybe not so social media savvy? So it's all very well putting your focus on the younger people because it's easy to communicate through social media, but what's happening to encourage the older generations who actually need it? They're more vulnerable.
I guess when we hear that word influencers, we think like social media influencers. But I guess in the UK, where we're filming this from, you have the Queen. I guess she's an influencer. I dislike the term. She's an influencer, and so she's. I don't think had video of her getting the jab, but she made it public that she got the vaccine. So interesting. So watch this space. Keep an eye out on this about this whole idea of vaccine tourism. So that's our very interesting business or company of the week. Let's talk about our very interesting person of the week. I'm going to put this up just now. I'll let you kind of explain what it's all about.
Okay, well, this is news because it's the first vegan restaurant in France to get a Michelin star. And this is a very interesting, it's called Ona, I think that's the pronunciation, Ona Vegan. And this is a vegan restaurant in Bordeaux or near Bordeaux. The lady who started this, Claire Vallée, she started this business. She was actually inspired after a trip to Thailand to become vegan, because there's a fantastic amount of vegan restaurants and great food and great honest food in Thailand for vegans, as we know. And so she came back. She was inspired, but she's not trained as a chef. She's actually an archaeologist, and so she's got quite an interesting background. But anyway, so this was a project of hers, but she'd gone to various banks for loans to start this business because she was totally inspired. And she was refused quite a lot of loans to start a business. So she did a crowdfunding campaign, and she actually raised 10,000 euros and tried to supplement that with other loans, but she was turned down again. But then she found an ethical bank, managed to get a loan, and obviously on the back of the crowdfunding, and a patron or two, I think. So she had some patrons involved. And so she actually got the keys to her business in August 2016. So this is a fairly new.
Well, to go from zero to Michelin star
within like 4 years,
and not be a trained chef.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
So it's pretty good going. But actually, in August 2016, when she got the keys to her premises, and I think you've got a picture of it there as well that you've seen. She there's more work in the kitting out and all the setting up a restaurant, and so it's a massive and kitting out the whole restaurant. So she actually started what was called, she had a great idea, a participatory workshop work site. So she had volunteers like painters, decorators, electricians, plumbers, and they all volunteered to get this project off the ground, which is amazing. So that was all. That's like local participation.
Everyone just chipping in.
Yeah, everyone just getting involved and say, we believe in this project. But even her crowdfunding, there was something like 126 countries. So anyone who knows about this restaurant now, you say, well, the next time I'm in Bordeaux, we're definitely going to go there because this sounds amazing. But she's because she's an archaeologist. I mean, I had a look on her website and it's lovely. It's a really well laid out restaurant. But I dug a bit deeper into the menus, and obviously when we go there, we're going to eat everything inside. But her menus are like works of art. It's incredible.
These are great. So
I know. Look at that.
I mean, usually menus are pretty boring.
This is her scoping out and thinking about what is the food going to be presented like?
Yeah.
What's on the plate? And they're like works of art. It's like an architect's
plan.
Like
those kind of Michelangelo drawings when he was sketching out a design for a bridge or something.
Really creative.
Yeah.
But then that's the creative mind at work, and I just find that fascinating. That's just one of the menus that she has. But even just look at the menus, I just thought I was fascinated by the drawings themselves. But it also reminds me of a restaurant that we went to in the south of France. We were regulars for various conferences in Cannes. So we on one of our occasions, this was going back a good few years, we went to a restaurant near Nice. So it's kind of west of Nice in the hills, and it's called La Colombe d'Or. Yeah. And that's got a fascinating history as well.
That's one like that. What did you call that workshop, not workspace, like a
participatory work
site.
So
I guess like Colombe d'Or did it before anyone else did. This is I'm putting a picture up just now. So this was when in the early days of this, it was a kind of coaching in / restaurant, great food. And it was very popular by lots of artists at the time. So people like Picasso would go and stay there. And the owner at the time, what he would do is he'd say, rather than you can get free bed and board here, and we'll give you food and everything, but just create me a painting, or design me a sculpture, or create some piece of art that we can hang on the walls. And what's great, if you get a chance to go there, it's called La Colombe d'Or, and it's just outside of Cannes.
It's kind of west of Nice and up in the hills, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful landscape where it's nestled into some lovely greenery.
And when you go there, it's kind of amazing, because normally when you go to like a gallery or an art gallery or museum, the art, like the Picasso paintings, it's got a big screen behind a screen, and it's there's a lot of security. But you could be sitting, tucking into your soup, and right next to you is a Picasso, and there's lots of other great artists as well. So this kind of idea of participatory,
and also the Colombe d'Or kind of shaped its future. It started off as a cafe, and then it had some rooms, but it actually shaped its future around about 1940, where it was declared. That area, the Côte d'Azur, was declared a free zone. So it was artists and thinkers, a variety of artists and thinkers would flock to that area because it was a place where they can continue to be creative in their thinking and in their art. And that's the middle of World War II. And so it was called a free zone. I'm not exactly sure what the free zone means, but
it's not like you feel like the taxes, but maybe it was like free in terms
I think it was in terms of being able to be liberty exactly. So but they flocked there, and there's an interesting story as well to do with the fireplace, which we've actually seen it. We've sat by the fireplace, and it was designed. It was like there was lots of additions to La Colombe d'Or over time, but an architect, so yet another architect, had designed this fireplace. But everyone who participated in the fireplace, the building of the fireplace, laid a hand in the wet cement. So the handprints. So it's like the like the Hollywood stars, all that stuff. So the handprints of the people who actually are embedded there for all time. Yeah, I find that fascinating.
But what I find that kind of ties in. Obviously, you talk about ethics, being an ethical future. I talk about creativity, and places like this are really important. There was an article this week. I think it was in the Financial Times. It was the Financial Times or the Economist, talking about a lot of CEOs are getting really worried just now. They're seeing a creativity crisis because virtual is great, and we're doing this online just now, obviously, but people need to kind of be together. They need to break bread together, and that could be artists, people from different backgrounds, your peers, kind of random thoughts. That's how the ideas can literally need to bump into each other. And I think a column d'or in creativity research, we would call this a third place. So it's somewhere that's not your home and it's not your work. It's a kind of middle place. And if you look at any of the history of creativity, the ancient Athens, they would have the symposiums, which just means to drink together, is the Greek word to drink together, symposium. And they would get together with different people, merchants, philosophers, artists, politicians, and they would debate and discuss the ideas at the time. More recently, you have like the coffee shops. They kind of fulfill that function. In the 1920s, if you went to Paris in the 20s or 30s, the wine bars, the coffee shops. And I think somewhere like this, and it sounds like, and I hope the place you mentioned, this new vegan place in Bordeaux, has that ability. And it'd be interesting to see some restaurants have, you have a table and it's a table for four, but I'm seeing a lot more restaurants have more longer tables. So sometimes you just end up sitting next to someone, you have no idea who they are. I mean, some people don't like this, but sometimes it'd be quite interesting because you sit next to them and have a conversation. What do you do?
Well, it's different chat, isn't it? It's different chat, because if you're not able to bump it, that's why art and music, exactly, we don't see borders. We just see like open. You want to be open to conversation and new ideas, and you don't want those kind of external limitations on things. So that's why it's really important for creatives that they've got space, or to be creative, or just to get new ideas. And it doesn't necessarily have to be two sets of creative people coming together. It could be, you could be talking to someone from completely another discipline altogether. There's the Claire Valet from the restaurant in Bordeaux, Ona. She's from an architecture, discipline, but with that creative slant and a passion for food. It's just amazing. And now she's created something amazing, and it's actually
But obviously, she's the figurehead of this place. But if you think about it, that restaurant, who created it? Is it Claire? She's part of that creation process. Is the instigator of the idea. But then there's her chefs. There's her front of house people. There are the builders, the joiners, the painters.
Oh, they all have a stake in it.
They all have a stake. They're all kind of essentially co-creating that place, and that's what makes it really interesting. And hopefully, as we start to come together again, you're going to see a lot more of this kind of co-creation and collaboration.
The crowdfunders as well. Everyone who invested in it, who believed in it, which is really important.
So give everyone the name of the place again, just so they can go and check it out online.
It's Ona, which is
O-N-A,
and it's in Bordeaux, and I can't remember the name. Is it R?
And it's the first vegan restaurant in France to attain a Michelin star. There's been other vegan restaurants that have had Michelin stars. It's the very first one in France. And France has traditionally not been a place you think of for vegan food, but it's great seeing that the plant-based and the vegan culture really expanding there. So that's our very interesting person of the week. So
can't wait to go there.
Claire, we look forward to going there. And let's talk about our very interesting thing of the week as we start to finish up.
Do you want to speak about it, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're filming this today from Scotland, and it's really cold. It's really cold.
I've been glued. We've got an aga because we don't have gas, utilities, but we're oil fired, which is because we're up in the hills. But we have an oil fired aga, and I've been glued to it for about 3 days. It's been freezing.
So one of the things, like as we start to, and this is actually something that we got before the lockdown happened, and we invested in this, and it's not inexpensive, it's not super expensive, and a lot of homes are now getting it. Is this system here? It's called Hive. It's an active heating system. Now it means essentially it connects your heating system, the boilers, to an electronic system, which is a kind of IoT, Internet of Things. Now, what's great about it, it means that you could be sitting in a different room, and if you want the heating on, it's a bit cold, just hit the heating on. Maybe you want to go and have a shower or bath in an hour's time, just switch it on. We used to use it a lot, probably even maybe more when if we were traveling, and we would arrive at an airport, we'd arrive home, and it was maybe 45 minutes from the airport to the house. So we would just put on the heating and put the hot water on, so everything would be ready for us. And it was amazing because we'd be sitting on a plane 35,000 feet in the air. Let's have a look. We'll see what the temperature's like at the house just now. And it kind of feels like the stuff of fantasy. I know everyone gets really excited about going to Mars and all that kind of stuff.
No, I just want to go to a warm house.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like simpler technologies that can be the most transformative as well. So,
well, they absolutely are. But the amount I can count every single time coming back from a trip, it could be touring somewhere or you're doing a presentation somewhere, and we just didn't know. And or when we were abroad and living in America, keeping an eye on the house, we would never know the temperature of the house. So you'd have to have people to go in and look after things. But in an instant, you could look on the app and say, oh, the temperature in the house is this. So let's just give it a boost. And also as well, it makes for a very efficient usage of fuel, because you don't want to have the heating on full pelt, and it's not necessary. So you can just keep things ticking over at like a frost-free setting or whatever. But it's a great app. You do the water and you can talk to it through Alexa.
Yeah, you can talk to it to like Alexa and other things. And in fact, this is the one we use is called Hive, but which has just been acquired by Google. And there's some concerns around that from a data perspective, Google and Hive. But there are other ones. There are other ones on the market, and some of the other ones also use a lot more machine learning in them, so that they kind of get to recognize. Maybe on Sundays you get up a little bit later on a Sunday, and so the heating will go on a little bit later. And
we've got a television like that.
Yeah,
it seems to. I don't know. There's some alien.
It recognizes
when we switch the TV on for the news, and it's just starting to.
I think that's a design fault.
I don't think it's been very smart.
So that's our Hive. It's called Hive Active Heating System. Go and check it out if you're thinking maybe of upgrading your system, or just trying to get a little bit more, be a bit more environmentally friendly and find ways to reduce your energy and be more efficient with your energy costs. So that's our VIP show. Another week. This is episode number 3.
Wow. So if you've been looking in, staying with us, thank you so much for that. We've got a few viewers, and we're just going to build it from here.
Yeah. So this is an experiment. Every week we're trying a couple of new little things, getting the format like tweaked and dialed in a little bit. So thanks so much for joining us. Please leave any comments below wherever you're watching this from. You might be watching on Twitter. You might go and follow Alison at Alison Burns Jazz, which is on Twitter. You might be following it in LinkedIn, in which case just go to look at James Taylor, a keynote speaker, and you can follow along there, or maybe you're watching live just now or pre-recorded on YouTube. So thanks so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you so much, and we'll see you again next week
for another week. Who knows what's going to be like next week? I wonder what's going to happen. Anything can happen. Thanks for watching, everyone. My name is James Taylor, keynote speaker on creativity, innovation, and artificial intelligence.
And I'm Alison Burns. I forgot who I was there. Ethical futurist, looking at all things ethical along the way.